I'm a poet. So poetry is how I process the world, the whole thing. Like I was joking around saying earlier, I'm a baby adult. So I still a whole lot of world for me to process and figure out, and poetry has been how I do that. So tonight I'm gonna take you guys on a little journey, self-reflection. We're gonna reflect together. Some of the poems I'm sharing tonight are published. I have 2 books out. Some of them are from my books, and I'll be sharing 2 unreleased poems tonight as well. All right. All right. Let's get into it. There was a man today on the train, tall and thin and wrinkly, with glasses and a lime green mask, with wispy white hair and 2 big glasses. He stumbled over my ankles on the way in and flopped down in the seat beside me. It was early, and when he sat down, I could smell his life. He smelled like a kindergarten classroom, like dark wood furniture and creaky beanbag chairs. He smelled like an underground art room, homemade paints and children laughing at their easels, broken crayons and sharpened pencils about the floor. He smelled like pink chalk dust and linoleum floors and fluorescent lights. He smelled like worn nights at a blazing fireplace and leather lazy boys and potpourri. He smelled like cigars and a secret jelly bean collection and a soft basement carpet. He smelled like memories and nostalgia and childlike joy. When he sat down, I could smell his life. Or maybe it was just his cologne. If the eyes are the window to the soul, the heart must be the abandoned basement that holds the remnants of the things we could only hope to forget. There's spare pain strewn across the floors, and moldy memories are eating at the walls. If the eyes are the window to the soul, then mine must be the too full attic that we keep trying and failing to clear out. There are piles of intrusive thoughts falling into piles of anxiety, falling into piles of I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. These things must be true if the eyes are the window to the soul. So those 2 are from my first book, The Process of Love. I released that one about 3 years ago. These next 2 are from my most recent book. Sometimes the voice in my head screams louder than the gentle whisper of God. It snarls and bites and tears me apart piece by piece. I only know how to hate me, but he only knows how to love me. When was the last time you prayed? Not pulling out the long list you keep hidden in the pockets of your heart with the names and the things and the dreams you desire. When was the last time you prayed in wonderment, in thanks, in awe? When was the last time you looked at the massive canvas in the sky and you just stared in awe at the sunset painted before you? When was the last time you rested in thanks for the goodness, mercy, peace, faithfulness, love, kindness, joy of God? When was the last time you thought of the beauty of the tiny balls of fire in the sky and prayed with wonder? When was the last time you prayed? So those last 2 were from my most recent book. I released that one earlier this year, actually. My launch was in like June or something like that. Thank you. When I wrote these 2 books, when I was writing the poems generally, I didn't have books in mind. I really was just processing. It was like a means of survival, you know? If I couldn't get it out and it got stuck up here, it got a little spooky. And I was, like I said, I'm now a baby adult. I think I was 17 when I wrote most of these poems. So I was like just kind of reaching adulthood and figuring out what that meant for me. I was away from my family. I was in college. The whole thing was, it was a lot. I'm saying it like you guys don't know what that's like. Sorry, my bad. But you'll notice like not every poem is super, super deep reflection. Some of it is just reflection of moments. Like the first poem was a real moment when I got on the train and this old white guy like tripped over my ankles on the way in, and he sat down and he smelled like memories. Like he sat down and I like had to stop for a second. It felt like, I felt like That's So Raven, like kind of, and had this whole like flashback montage of all of these various memories. But some of the poems are a little more intense, and we'll get into a couple of more intense ones. But it's all just reflections of lessons, realizations, things that I didn't even know I had to learn, things I didn't even know I was learning until I was in the middle of it. Like these are, as I'm in the process, this is what's happening. I can't pinpoint what I'm learning, but this is what's happening in my head and in my heart as I'm learning it. And then they became books when I realized that I wasn't the only person processing this. Like I shared a couple poems and people were joining me in that moment of self-reflection, joining me in that like, hey, you know what? I've been feeling this. This is great. And it was super like teenager of me. Oh, no one understands how I'm feeling. No one gets me. When in fact, several people understood and several people related. So here's another piece from that season. I know that you believe for everyone except you. You believe that he's omnipotent, but he can't do it for you. Omniscient, but he doesn't know how to handle your problems. Omnipresent, but not where you are. See, you've got an everyone but me theology. You're living with an impossibility reflex. That one's also from my first book. This next one was written more recently. This one is unreleased. It's called The Color of Love. Holding your hands is yellow. It's not a dandelion, blazing sun type of yellow. It's the color of peonies and lemon pith. Soft, casual, habitual, necessary. I've forgotten what it feels like to walk without your fingers tangled with mine. The scratch of your calluses is the color of a little duckling's belly, and the slide of your knuckles against mine is pale and staticky like a summer storm. Hot enough to almost have sweaty palms, but there's enough rain that our hands are slip sliding against each other, and I'm worried I'll lose my grip. Lying next to you feels red, like sunlight through wine-colored curtains that stain the whole room. It tastes a little tangy, like fresh sangria or an almost ripe strawberry. It's intense in a way, but it's not forceful. See, we're both daydreamers and lovers and yearners, and there's a tension building in the space between us, birthed by the thought of everything we could do in this moment. And if I look into your eyes while we lie here, the red gets a little brighter. Breathing your air is a smooth sort of brown, like dark chocolate. The intimacy of being known brightens it to soft burnt orange, like sunset filtered through the blanket over our heads. We're hiding here like children, and I can see myself in the reflection of your eyes. There's a perfection there that a mirror could never replicate. This is the closest I will ever get to seeing me the way you do. I'm reminded in this moment that I'm yours. I'm reminded in this moment that you see joy I never imagined myself capable of. We've gone far past your fingers on my skin. I'm more interested in the way you caress my mind. I'm trying to build our lives on that kind of intimacy. The copper-tinted trim of being perceived by you is more than enough. Singing to you is the same green as pine trees, or maybe a little warmer, like the moss that grows on the forest floor. It might just depend on the song, I guess. Love songs are bright, springy hydrangea leaves, typical, vibrant, easy. The little weird, goofy songs you like are a swampy lake tone. There's something beautiful and muddy about embarrassing myself to make you smile. I think it's something about it being so uniquely mine and so specifically gifted to you. Praying with you might be my favorite color. It's a midnight kind of shade, maybe blue, maybe purple, maybe black, when there's too much light pollution for the stars to stand in their full glory, but one or two have made their escape. We have made our escape. The kind of midnight sky that stands as a backdrop for purple lightning that's just a little too close for comfort. That's what it feels like when we pray, when we stand in faith together. Like we're waiting for the lightning to strike with no clue if it'll hit us. To love you and be loved by you is a kaleidoscope of moments. Every color shifting, twisting, turning into the next. Something gentle this way comes. Something special. Something kind. I'll carve a space for myself inside your rib cage, between your lungs, and when the colors change, when we find ourselves in shades we never imagined, when you stop to breathe them all in, I'll be right there, breathing them in with you. That was The Color of Love, unreleased. I actually struggle to write long poetry. So both of my books, they're collections of lyric poetry, which is just short poems, mini poems. I don't typically write very long poems, but recently somebody challenged me to work on my prose and, try and get things long. And I was like, that's just not what I do, but it was, thank you. It was definitely I think just again in that self-reflection, not just in writing out the reflection, but in accepting certain challenges. Writing these longer poems and challenging myself in that and reflecting, okay, well, why is it difficult for me to do this? Why am I so against this? Why is this such a, and there wasn't any real reason. And so I think even in these long poems, these longer moments that aren't necessarily comfortable, I still find myself in that space of self-reflection. So this poem it was a love poem in case you couldn't tell. It's about my husband, and just and just what it's been like in this, I think this is our second year of marriage. So what it's been like in these first 2 years. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Just what it's been like in these first 2 years, what it's looked like loving him, what it's looked like being loved by him and being in that space and figuring out, okay, what are we building this on? My favorite line in the whole poem, I don't know if that's narcissistic to have a favorite line of your own poem, but my favorite line of the whole poem is, we've gone past your fingers on my skin. I'm more interested in the way you caress my mind. I'm trying to build our lives on that kind of intimacy. It's so easy to just, well, this feels good and I like how this feels, and that's not sustainable. And it's been very, very fun these past 2 years learning that that's not sustainable and learning that what's sustainable is loving his mind and him loving mine. So I want to hear from you guys a little bit. Oh! Stretch a hand of prayer that he'll find someone that loves his mind. Amen. I want to hear from you guys a little bit. I like to have conversations. I don't like to monologue. So before I ask you, any thoughts, questions about what we've heard so far? Any? Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are you an English major by any chance, or did you always love like words and books?
I've always loved words and books. Always loved words and books. My birthday gifts every year were books and Nooks and Kindles and things. I'm sorry? December 29th. It's actually coming up. Yes. I just like words. I think words are fascinating. I think it's beautiful how many different kinds of words there are, the way that you can piece words that shouldn't go together to make something new, to build an entire, just world of things with just words, with nothing else but words, it's incredible to me. And I've always found that fascinating. Yeah. So I have a question for you guys, for everyone's creative. I'm a firm believer that everyone is creative and is a creative, without question. So my question for you guys is, when you were younger, are you now creating in the way that your younger self thought that you would? Yeah?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time I reflect and I ask myself, like, am I making my younger self proud? Am I sticking to being creative? Because it's hard to be creative sometimes. Where it's
Yes.
like, doesn't always pay the bills, or it doesn't always make
Yes.
your parents proud.
Yes.
But it's like you keep that passion going. And sometimes I look back and I'm like, you know what, like my 11-year-old self would think like, yo, you're the dopest person in the world right now. So yeah, that's something that I definitely reflect on. And I know this is kind of, I'm going backtrack, but I don't know what the title of the poem was that she said, but it was the question where it was like, when was the last time you stopped to
Oh, to
look at
pray,
it?
yes.
That's me. I'm the type of person where it's like, yo, look at that tree over there. Like,
Yeah.
look at those ants. Look at the color of the sky. Like,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'm like, does no one else see this?
Yep.
The beauty in nature, or even if it's just like people watching, or watching like a small intimate moment. It could be I walked past a tree one day, like this happened recently. I walked past a tree that's in front of my house, and then walked past it again, and walked past it again. I'm like, when did it turn red? I don't even know, but just the beauty of just taking
Yeah.
time to like notice that. So I love all those questions that you would ask me.
Yeah, that one was so the college I went to this tiny little strange Bible college in Pennsylvania. And while I was there was a girl that I met, and she told me that every time she's able to catch a sunrise or a sunset, she immediately thinks about how God stopped to paint that for us. Like that's how she visualized it. And she was, an artist. She did fine art. So for her, that was like without question, like I look at the sky and like this is how I process it, this is how I see it. And it literally was like, whoa, I'm not stopping to take things in enough. I'm not stopping to like be in awe. And like in that same season, I found out if you okay, so here's the Bible college coming out, right? So in Genesis, when it's talking about creation, there's a verse. It's like it's a one-off. And it talks about the trees and how they were literally made for us to look at them and just go, wow, that's a nice tree. That's the whole reason we have trees. According to the Bible. That was literally the purpose of trees. The scientists figured out the oxygen thing later. That wasn't the main purpose, So it was just like in that seems like wow, like there's a space for wonderment. There's a space for awe. There's a space to look at things and acknowledge, like, hey, this is beautiful. This is like the ants. When did this tree turn red? Wow, that's a nice sky. Like there's always a space for that. And it's difficult, especially like in a place like New York where hustle and bustle and running around, and there's always a space to stop and go, wow, this is nice. There's beauty here. There's peace here. That's a nice tree. There's always a space for it. Okay, anyone else on the is your younger self, like, are you creating the way your younger self thought you would? No, okay.
I knew I would create, but I don't think I don't think I could have fathomed where I would be, who I would meet, what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
I used to challenge myself as a kid to write a song a day.
Mm,
And
that's hard.
yeah, I would write a song a day, and I take songwriting and words just like you, like very seriously, and yeah, you think of things, I used to want to be a model, I wanted to be a teacher, and I found myself later on like doing everything, just a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And